What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Ad Podcast. We are here with Dane Kunkel, the SVP of Transformation and Performance here at Horizon. First interview on our stop here in New York for Upfront Week in Mirren. Dane, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Of course.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here at Horizon. What do you do?
Yeah, so I came to Horizon about 5.5 years ago, and I came up through the social department on our performance team. Through that time, grew rapidly across our team. When I first joined, we were about 20 members, grew it to almost over 100 before I transitioned into this new role, performance and transformation. This role is something that I have been thinking about for over 3 years now as the onslaught of AI came into the industry, as companies have started bringing new technology into their workspaces. It's been difficult for them to actually scale that appropriately across their workflows. So I thought of this idea, I guess, about 3 years ago, and about 2 years ago, I really put pen to paper and wrote out a job description and a full plan of how we should go about thinking about this for our agency, but also for our clients. I pitched that to my boss at the time, and she said she liked it. We sat on it for a little bit, and then when Bob Lord came on board and we started really going down the product path at Horizon with our Blue product, we needed a way to bring technology into our system, able to scale it across our account team, sees impacting our internal team's workflows, but also our clients' performance. And how do we feed that eventually into either our Blue product and our open ecosystem, or use it as a point solution across some of our clients? So he's been a big advocate of this. He helped push forward developing the team, and now we have a growing team, and we're putting a lot of effort into actually bringing technology into the organization and mapping it correctly across our team's workflows.
Amazing. So what are some of the most, I heard a little bit about the Blue product. I interviewed your chief technology officer, I think, at Ramp Up.
Dominic?
Dominic, yeah. So he was telling me a little bit about it, but how do you see the most applicable use cases for the world that you came up through social?
Yeah, so it's just interesting. I don't focus too much on the Blue side. What I do is I bring external technology into the company, and we vet that. We understand how that can fit into either our workflows or replace our workflows. And this new age, there's tons of new agentic opportunities that are going to streamline how a lot of our agencies operate. It'll change our team's composition so they can start focusing on more higher level strategy and less clicking on keyboard buttons. So we're really excited about that, and we're really encouraging our teams to dive into AI and use that across the board. But as I came up through social, it's a pretty big hands-on keyboard group. Lots of ads managers to buy in. 12 plus platforms these days. They all have their own interfaces and UIs. So when you think about bringing technology in to support that, how do you standardize, streamline, drive better optimization across those platforms, bring in technology to measure, activate, but also check that and make sure you're doing it properly. So when we think about bringing technology in these days, it's about kind of going from the full suite of solutions across all different platforms, across the full workflow, and how does that improve our team's lives, basically, because no one wants to be sitting in front of a keyboard clicking keys all day.
I love it. So, a lot of people obviously are concerned with displacement and entry-level jobs and things like that. So you guys are looking at AI as a way to get your teams out of busy work and redundant tasks and things that kind of are not high-level strategic. And what is that freeing up people to do more? Is it spend time with clients, get out on the road and attend thought leadership? What is the goal, would you say, for AI as far as optimizing the workforce and allowing teams to do what you would call more high-level work?
Yeah, I'll let you just talk because you no, it's all of that. But I would say it's a lot of things. All work is important, so I'll clarify that first. If you have to go and buy ads and ads manager, that is still very important work. It has to get done, and we have to do it for our clients and do it to a level of standard that is acceptable. The idea is, if we make that faster and we make that more automated, we're allowing that individual to then, instead of again, clicking through 15 different buttons to launch a campaign, they're not thinking about a strategy. They're thinking about how they can optimize the campaign instead of just building it. So it's moving away from, I'll say, the upfront setups and the back end data consolidation into more of a, let's think about this. Let's see what we're not doing and see how we can streamline some of our work processes to actually to deliver better output for our clients and be at a faster cadence. So I think for us, it's about speed. So now we're able to do things faster. It's about depth. So we're able to ingest more data, have greater outputs for our clients. And it's also about just improving the way our teams function, because when you hire somebody, you don't want them to sit in front of a computer and just click buttons after another. You want them to think, and that's what people are coming out of college and into the workforce these days. We want to make sure they're thinkers and that they're bringing proactive solutions instead of just reacting to ads management platforms.
On YouTube, finding the right audience to build a media plan requires hours of research. And optimizing campaigns is time-consuming and a bit of a guessing game. That's why we built technology to do it for you. Strike Social.
What's the skill set of the entry-level social buyer or social media generalist? What types of skills are you looking for when you're building out the teams now?
Yeah, that's a great
or
question.
How has that changed in the last year?
So my team no longer is that team, but I can definitely comment on that. I would say even my team now, we're hiring for groups to help kind of push forward the adoption of technology and think about how it can integrate into different groups and workflows. I would say the biggest skills these days are probably one, proactiveness, just thinking on your feet. If you see something, don't just wait for somebody to tell you how to do it. Like, go try and figure it out. So like curiosity, maybe
Nice.
Curiosity is better than proactiveness. I'd say curiosity, like the drive to actually dig into something.
Become an expert.
Yeah, I'd say now like anybody can become an expert in anything really overnight with the use of AI. I have very limited coding experience. I coded my own workout app because I didn't like what I saw in the marketplace. So
Isn't
I made
that
my
crazy? Yeah, it's funny, the vibe coding revolution. I interviewed a guy the other day that's lost 50 pounds by
Oh my gosh.
creating his own, dieting app, and it feels like a lot of people are vibe coding more for personal use than they are in the workplace. But are you seeing interesting products being developed by your people in-house?
Yeah, so we have a full product team, which is great, and it's actually helping our speed to market with our Blue product. We also have a full enterprise AI team, which is actually focusing on how do we build agents to deploy across the agency, which is, again, another I think great way to scale technology because you have a team building that out and pushing it to all the different teams. We also have grassroots people who are like our analytics team who are much more, I'll say, code savvy, who are building their own dashboards and building their own working systems for modeling, which I think like 5 years ago would not be the case. And you probably have to either hire a company to come in and help you or hire engineers to do that. Now you can basically build a proof of concept pretty quickly, and then you have to do the hard legwork to actually
Make sure that it's compliant.
Yes, enterprise
kind of the
level.
last mile, essentially.
Yeah, but I would say both sides of the house, like, it kind of just makes you think about like a Monday.com and some of these other like tracker boards. You can basically code your own now, and it's like, where's the value in paying for that versus building your own? I know there's definitely enterprise controls, AI integrations, and those. And we use Monday, and I love Monday. Actually, it's a great tool. But if you need to build your own dashboard that's personalized to you, they actually have a great. We just got access to it. A great. Agentic workflow in there where agents can actually build you something based on your natural language. So I think every company like in the SaaS space is going to try and start figuring out how do we integrate AI so we don't become
How to build
obsolete.
Things together with their clients that
Yeah.
are super customizable to their unique use cases versus creating things that are the widest general product for the most amount of people.
Correct. I think you still need your general product to have some sort of go-to-market and have some sort of selling point of like why you should integrate with our product. But the ability to personalize that down to the user level of what they need in particular is really important, especially when we think about adoption across an agency. Every individual here across every single level is different, and they need to have their own workbench to be able to do their job effectively. That fits their working style. We can't just force one model onto everybody and tell them, go use that. So I think the ability to have flexibility is going to be really important in the future.
What is your thought on, the social platforms keep putting out, quarterly earnings reports, and one of the things that they keep touting is the idea that, their platforms are becoming easier and easier to use. They're giving less customer service and ad ops and even salespeople to, service and support agencies. Mark Zuckerberg's been famous a few times for saying in the near future, you'll just be able to swipe your credit card, put a link to where you're trying to sell, and then they'll do all the work for you, including the creative. As these platforms continue to adopt AI and to move more to be kind of a, very easy interface for brands in their mind to swipe and let the AI do the rest of the work. Do you feel like that puts any kind of challenge or headwinds on what the agencies bring to the table, or do you still feel like there's always going to be a level of optimization opportunities that are what the agencies bring to the table? Where do you think we sit in this ecosystem as the self-serve platforms continue to try and say we can do it easier, faster, and better?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think from a capability standpoint, all the social platforms, they're building great technology, which we employ as well, but I think is great for SMBs. Because I'll say, I guess companies don't always have the teams that are able to go out and build full strategies, build full workflows that are more advanced than that they need at an enterprise level. So I think the agencies become these more enterprise solutions. Well, they already are, but from a SMB perspective, they'll adopt those technologies pretty quickly because a pizza shop that has 5 locations can easily
faster
get on there.
Barrier to entry for small businesses to come in. Yeah.
And they don't need the complexity and depth of targeting, first-party data, optimization layers across channel, integrations across different teams, and measurement back out into the boardroom. Like they don't need that complexity. So I think there will always be the need for a consultatory role from agencies to help build strategy, execute, and measure on that. The execution piece hopefully gets much more streamlined in the future. And that's where we see some of these more agnostic technologies come across and build some tools to deploy across many systems at one time. I don't think that there's be a replacement at all in the future. I think there'll be more collaboration. I think it'll just speed up the ability for us to move faster. So I think this new era is just all about speed and depth of what you're able to put out as an output.
Love it. It's Upfronts week. Anything exciting on your calendar? Are you up to any, or do you think the Upfronts are still as relevant now that TV viewership has, for the first time in history, slipped below 49%? Will the Upfronts continue to be a thing? Is it important for you guys this week?
I mean, I love TV, so I'm like the odd consumer out there. Well,
same.
I think from a sports perspective, like TV is always going to remain
live tune in, things that you can't watch later, appointment viewing.
I think the younger demographic is definitely skewing out of that, but I mean, there's still a huge sports emphasis across. So much of that audience is leaned in and focused on that. I would imagine that TV will look different in a few years as social again becomes bigger and continues to take more of the screen time across all different devices. But I think I've been behind the desk this whole week. I've not been making out to the upfronts. I've gotten some videos back from some friends who are showing me some fun performances and information. Possible set me back a good amount. But I will say, the TV landscape is going to be interesting. I don't know where I predicted to go, but I think sports will remain, and those broadcasters are going to try and retain all they can on the sports angle. And you even have maybe shifts more towards just the CTV model and over the top, because you have like Amazon coming in, Netflix coming in on sports, and maybe it just shifts the whole model away from broadcast, but we'll see.
Nice. We're getting close to a couple weeks out from Possible, but is there anything that were highlights for you? Any things that you thought were insightful that you brought back to the teams?
Yeah, this Possible was quite interesting. It was my first time at Possible this go around. I was really interested to see how the collaboration between different ad tech partners was organically happening there. We had hosted a happy hour at Horizon, and it was packed with all of our different partners and prospective partners, and you could just see them already talking about integration ways and where they can work together. So I thought it was a really interesting and more relaxed feeling than going to a CES and it's just busy.
Yeah, CES is hard because you're wading through all the people trying to sell electronics, not just the media crowd. That was pure media Possible. Yeah.
So it was interesting. I really liked this one. So my big takeaways were collaboration between partners is bigger than ever. We're already seeing some partners come to us. They're saying, "Oh, we are starting to integrate with this partner, so we'll bring a better solution forward towards you guys as you think about your Blue product."
More cooperation versus competition.
Yeah, that was one. I think the other thing was I actually really liked that was only media, because you could get to all of your different partners at one time and have those conversations quickly as a top to top. So I thought this was actually a really well produced conference. I met with so many different partners down there. I was busy. I know we were trying to figure out our time together. But I didn't even make it to any of the stages really. I saw. I think that's something that I want to get into next year.
We have some white space in the calendar to hear some presentations and stuff like that.
I caught a little bit on the AI circular stage there, and how teams are adopting AI and how they're bringing it into their workflows, which is something that I'm super interested in as well. And I forget the individual who was speaking about it, but he was talking about how as you scale a solution, it's important that you're, one, tracking that solution from the baseline of adoption rates, but make sure you're evangelizing it from a leadership perspective, because when you join a company, you get your Outlook, you get your Teams, maybe you have G Suite. Those are the tools you're given. As you're bringing AI into your organization, you're given a new tool. You gotta learn to use it, or you're gonna get left behind.
Yeah, there's got to be an onboarding process for your AI platform that's more in depth.
Yeah, onboarding enterprise controls across it to make sure you're sharing things appropriately. But he was talking about how the adoption across his company was like tenfold because of this. I was like, wow, it's really great adoption.
Yeah.
People want it, but I guess that right now the issue is, are they getting trained properly how to use it? Are they getting the support they need to actually be like experts in the solutions? I'm not sure that's happening yet. So I think that's an
it's
area
kind of the Wild West still.
Yeah.
Everybody's, giving people a Claude Enterprise Edition and say, okay, now go track all your, go see how it works. Yeah, that's interesting.
And I guess that sparks another interesting comment of, in the future, is everyone going to be building all these random apps and dashboards and controls
for their own individual jobs versus something that's more enterprise driven across the entire org?
Yeah, but then that sparks a question, like in an agency, for example, how do you control the consistency of output for your client then? So there does need to be some sort of safeguards and controls around that to make sure we're bringing a more full-fledged solution out, but giving the flexibility for teams to get their job done quickly. So it's kind of like a yin and yang there of just figuring out the right balance.
What does adoption look like on the client side? Do you see clients be very bullish, still a little cautious, some going all in, or do you feel like I know agencies are kind of accelerators, and they should be for these types of technologies, but how are clients responding to it, and are they able to adapt as fast, or are traditional models or structures and silos, keeping any kind of headwinds for adoption within clients?
That's another great question. I'd say both. Depends on the client. Some are diving headfirst and they're adopting it. They're trying to figure out how it can fit within their protocols. The biggest challenge, I think, is like data governance and access, and what you're allowed to give to it without giving away any proprietary information and or first-party data that shouldn't be going into these models. So I think the big portion right now is data governance. How do you streamline that process? And that's either an accelerator or a deflator, I guess, of speed there. That's one area that I think is a big call out. But I'd say for the most part, it's a mixed bag. You have some that are like pioneering, they're pushing ahead. They want to adopt every single technology solution, AI solution to test and learn and find the right ones that works for them. I think those brands will be set up really well for the next stage of marketing and just media in general. Some brands are a little more timid, waiting to see what's successful and then adopt into it. So I don't think there's one right size fits all approach right now, but I think those that are moving a little bit faster and are willing to have some failures as they go along to their successes, we'll see the big output in the end.
Macro level, we just got a 3.8% inflation report this morning. As you look at the broader ecosystem, a lot of people coming out of Possible were very bullish for the rest of the year, but there's a lot of uncertainty in the world these days. What's your personal take on the next 6 months?
Oh man, living in New York, you feel those prices. I mean, everything's getting more expensive. It's interesting. The consumer sentiment though doesn't seem to be falling behind that much right now.
That's interesting.
I'm not sure if the lag is just building is going to come eventually.
Is it the K-shaped economy? The people, I guess there was a statistic that the top 20% purchase 50% of the spending power in the U.S. right now. Do you think it's a result of kind of the K-shaped economy?
It definitely plays into it.
Yeah.
I also think this consumer debt is starting to skyrocket, and there's just more and more people who are just putting on the credit card and
Afterpay.
Later. Yep. Those are huge businesses now. I mean, they're
pay now, buy later.
I know. I should have invested in those a few years ago. But I would say it's definitely a concern. Our clients feel it. There's going to be some sort of change in consumer sentiment at some point. We just don't know when it's going to drop. I was speaking to a market analyst a few weeks ago, or actually maybe a couple months ago, and they expected it to happen in Q4 of last year, but it just powered through.
Crazy.
They expected it to be second quarter this year, but knock on wood, seems to be powering it through right now.
Do you think we're starting to see the enterprise value of AI unlock, just pushing the productivity is outweighing kind of the economic tailwinds? Do you think AI productivity is actually finally showing up on P&Ls and companies' balance sheets, and it's just blasting through all this stuff?
Yeah, I think it's still a little too early to tell on that front.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the market is hype right now, and I was listening to CNBC this morning, and even they were talking about how there is a day of reckoning coming for these overvalued companies. But I mean, I think the measurement will come. How do we prove the value for it? Is it here right now? I don't really see it yet. We are seeing tangible impacts across our organization, but like at scale in the broader marketplace, I'm just not sure everyone's seeing that same level. I think a lot of it is just like adopt, and you'll figure out the ROI later on. So I think, again, that kind of comes back to my convo earlier on like the enterprise control of it. If you're adopting quickly and you're finding things that work and you're scaling those things that work, that's going to drive real value, as opposed to teams just all going out building their own things and continuing to bootstrap it until they get to the right output they want for their client. So I think that's going to be probably in the next year or so, is now that all this openness of AI has created opportunity for people, it's going to be now how we bring that back into be more like enterprise control, more validated solutions that our clients and the industry can utilize. So to short answer your question, I think it's coming. I just don't know when. If I knew that, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Another social perspective I'd love to get your take on. Unilever recently announced 50% marketing spend going to creator marketing. Well, Unilever was last year, P&G was this year. I saw another report that 70% of CMOs are saying they're spending up to 25% of their budget on creator marketing. As social has transferred from this kind of follower-based economy, pay-to-play, where now these algorithms are giving earned media potential to almost every piece of content posted, and the ability to kind of test things in organic to see how it performs, and then picking winners with paid amplification based on how the algorithm is rewarding creator content or things that are being developed by brands. Do you feel like the transition to this kind of algorithm-based economy through TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, has it finally kind of hit peak creator economy, hype and UGC and all the things that these brands need to be on trend and feed the beast of these algorithms, and then being able to match their paid media strategy based on what wins organically? Do you think we're at that being the new strategy?
I think we've been building to that for a while. I think it's still on the trend up. Creators are authentic. Brands need to tell authentic stories. And in today's world, being able to move at the pace of culture is really important. And culture changes every single day because of the speed information is being shared, the speed of the algorithm, the speed of the, I'll say, TikTokification these days. So I would say most, if not all brands these days have some sort of creator strategy. Those that are scaling it are probably doing quite well with it. You get to find your niche and figure out what works for you. So I'd say there's still a potential to continue to see that rise. But those are basically the new storytellers of the future. As you can see, like Hollywood's having a little bit of a downturn in terms of longer form content. It's all moving towards short form content because the next generation just watches on their phone.
Micro-dramas.
Yeah. So I think we'll see continued rise in the presence of creators and the presence of short form content. Does that mean that branded and full production assets go away? I don't think so. I think those still drive immense value. I think you find the right balance for each brand, and it's not going to be the same one size fits all for every brand. That said, the idea you mentioned earlier of like organic into paid based on seeing your organic presence, that's something we're actively doing here too.
It's kind of showing that if the content performs well in organic, chances are the advertising algorithms are going to reward that content because it's a better user experience, and then give it to you for cheaper, and it's probably going to perform better.
Yeah, and I would say like video again is just like king above all right now. we see some creators doing more static posts as well, because there's value in that. But video is taking over everything, and that's going to be a faster way to produce content by having hundreds or thousands of creators go make content for you and find the ones you like and posting those based on the performance you see from our